We explore the union of the two, try to unite the two things. Whatever that two mean to each of us from many levels, physical, psychological, emotional, soteriological, ontological levels, and of course, subtle body level, as well as spiritual level. When we talk about the union in the context of Tantra, especially in the highest Yoga Tantra, it's very important to have a very clear idea about what we are talking about. I thought we were gonna do some crash course or something to give us a clarity around that. What is the union of the two truths? What are the two truths? Of course, we have been studying the two truths in the context of the sutra. How that apply to the highest Yoga Tantra, we have been practicing. Most of us are engaging in. So we need to know that. So I just want to say a few words, maybe more than a few words. It's actually worth spending entire semester on this. Actually, I was planning to do that, but still it's worthwhile to scratch the surface, so to speak. Otherwise, all the concept become like a mush mush and doesn't make sense to us as a practitioner. Then we get confused. Then in the end, we give up sadhana practice completely. It's very important to have clarity and precision, how our previous master did it, made it, this journey. Those things are very important, especially in our lineage. Our great masters are very kind to lay out their footsteps, step by step, and laid out this journey path. So we want to follow that. We want to study first. We want to learn, understand, and we want to contemplate. We want to kind of analyze, and we want to clarify. Then finally, we meditate on it. Then in Tantrayana, we apply that onto this path to have actual transformation in all the levels of human potentials. First of all, context is so important. I always talk about, you guys like to see all these things. Words are so important. We don't want to negate. The word is the kind of a doorway into the experience, understanding, and realization. There is no realization without experience. Without understanding, there is no experience. Precise understanding. So first one, I would want to talk about the two truths. As I said, the union of the two truths in this context. Then, of course, in the context of highest Yoga Tantra, we talk about the union of bliss and emptiness. We kind of confuse about these two sets, so to speak. So I just want to simplify it this way. The union in highest Yoga Tantra refers to different things. So depending on the context, so it's very important to know which context we are talking about, this union. In highest Yoga Tantra, like a Vajrayogini, Helka practice context, the union of the two truths consists of these two things. The name with ultimate truth or absolute truth and conventional truth or relative truth. Right. So those two truths we are talking in sutra level. So terminology is the same. Then in the highest Yoga Tantra, the context of the, for example, Idam practice, ultimate truth is the union of bliss and emptiness. This is the first half of the equation. I often talk about that ultimate truth that refers to the union of the bliss and the emptiness. In other words, union of the bliss and the emptiness is not completely the same, equal to the union of the two truths. Because the conventional truth refers to the illusionary body. This arise as a idam, first Sambhoga Kaya, then arise as a Vajrayogini, right? That's conventional truth. So when these are inseparably joined, these are ultimate truth, conventional truth, which refers to the union of bliss and emptiness, or bliss and clear light. We will go more into this terminology, and the illusionary body. When these are inseparably joined, they form the union of the two truths. Then that refers to the two Buddha bodies. That's with entail Buddhahood, tantric Buddhahood entail those two bodies. So we attain those two bodies when we awakened on the tantric journey. Okay, so is that a little bit clear? This terminology, two truths, union of the two truths, and the union of the bliss, emptiness, and the illusionary body. Then what is the union of bliss and emptiness? A little more go into this. This is when a single consciousness. So this is the difference between the sutric approach and the tantric, especially the highest yoga tantric approach. We use this single consciousness, great bliss, and the wisdom of realization experienced. Of course, then what the other sequence? Great bliss and wisdom. What's the other relationships between the great bliss and the wisdom of realizing emptiness? In our tradition, we talk these things very clear. There are perhaps two approaches, you can say. One is most practitioners that we are following. First realize emptiness, then later generate the bliss. It's sequential in a sense. Such as through tantric method, we realize the bliss through tantric method, Idam practice, generation and completion stage, namely. And then mind realize emptiness. Already we had a glimpse, at least a glimpse into that on the sutra level, then takes the form of bliss. So unite the bliss and the emptiness. Most of practitioners take that route. Then alternatively, the other method is some yogis, really, they don't need any philosophy. They just have so much imprint or something, very exceptional yogis, no household, nothing. They just direct into yogic practice. So some yogis first generate bliss, without any philosophical study of emptiness. Then by melting drops in the channels through practice, yogic practices, like Tummo and wind yoga, those 6 yogas of Naropa, for example, and very vigorous practice. Then use that blissful mind to realize emptiness. Not first we realize or we understand, then we have some kind of glimpse into emptiness, then generate the bliss, then unite the emptiness and the bliss. Instead of that, alternatively, second method is that first generate the bliss, then realize emptiness, using that blissful mind. For example, some yogis, practitioners, may begin with a yogacara kind of type of understanding of emptiness, not prasangika, most profound view, but some yogacara, mind-only school type of understanding in terms of reality. Then deeper tantric practice goes, then that naturally dissolves the coarse wind and consciousness, which lead them to a satara prasangika style understanding. That all phenomena are merely designations, as you are now getting very familiar with this prasangika view. All phenomena are merely imputed, merely designation, empty of inherent existence. Those yogis start with coarse understanding. Then through their yogic practice, their mind started satara and satara, eventually the satarist understanding of realities. So those are two things. This union happened this way. Just to clarify or reiterate what I said here, Lama Tsongkhapa's path to the union of bliss and emptiness. It's just precise, no ambiguity, then gradual, step by step, and rooted in the prior realization of emptiness, combined with completion stage yogas. Therefore, I'm just trying to back up our the rationale why I'm so emphasizing so much on that, try to understand the emptiness, its importance of the emptiness. And also, I'm presenting why I didn't present the emptiness teaching just right away. So that's one of the vows as well, right? Don't teach emptiness to those who are not qualified to listen or something like that.